Weyman Bennett, who is co-director of Unite Against Fascism.
I want to thank the organisation of the War for inviting me to speak at this conference. I think it's come at a very important time in terms of the fight against racism and fascism. And I want to start off by saying that the problem that we face, or have faced, is that when the question of Islamophobia has come up, it's not been treated as a racism. How do I know this? Last week in Newcastle, a 16-page report was produced by the local police force, and it said that the EDL, as an organisation, was not racist. It said, we've met many of these people and they say they're not racist. And that, therefore, they're not. Do you know what I mean? I actually said to them, so if you meet a burglar searching around the street and they say, I'm not a burglar, you shake their hand and say, thank you very much. It's obviously the case, you're not a burglar. In this evidence, what we have to go by is we have to go by the evidence of what type of organisation the EDL is. And the various other organisations like the BNP. What we have to be very clear on is this. The question of racism, particularly in terms of growth of the EDL, has been reduced down to the question of ideology about what these people are about. And people have said it's about, they're here to demonstrate freedom of speech. Now, do we really believe on the terraces where these football hooligans come from, they're sitting there discussing volunteer and the rights of man and stuff like these? These people have a systematic intent to carry out racist attacks, to build on the background that we've seen the growth of Islamophobia and target Muslims. And we have to understand that it's not new, that racism has been a feature of our society for a long time. And that's why the anti-Muslim racism has got to be put into the centre of a fight against the EDL and the BNP. If you look at what the EDL have done, if you look at their demonstrations, you look at the evidence that's been produced, every time they've gone into the streets, they've organised attacks on Muslims, and then they've gone on to attack other people. If you look what they did in Luton, they organised an attack on the Asian area of society. Well, what we've seen is, with the growth of the EDL, the growth of what I call genuine fascist movements, that have actually used the umbrella that they've been allowed to grow and actually threaten us. And at the heart of organisations like the EDL are the BNP, which is an open fascist organisation. And they've gone from putting 68 people on the street to putting 2,000 or 3,000 people on the street. And I think it represents a growing threat to everybody. And the fact they have been identified as being racist and also having fascist elements to them, I think is part of the reason why they've been able to get away with the kind of growth. Alan Lake, who has given money to the EDL, said that early on we want to build a street army. He's linked to organisations like Jobbik. They're attempting to build a core of people that can intimidate and attack people. In the same way as anti-Semitism was used in the 1930s, Islamophobia today has been used to build a fascist core. And it's important we understand that, because I think that is something which we can prove is going to be a threat to all of us. By the way, they've called a demonstration on the 20th of June inside Tower Hamlets, inside Commercial Road. I believe that's an attempt to turn the organisation to threat in order to try and challenge all of us. And I think we all need to turn out in large numbers. Trade unionists, Muslims, we all have to come out and oppose what's happening. Another feature of the fight against the EDL and the BNP is, I think, an attempt to tell the Muslim community that they shouldn't come out on anti-fascist demonstrations. And I put it to the police, actually. They said to me that in Newcastle and in Leeds, that they'd spent at least 20, 30, 40,000 pounds telling people to stay at home. And I asked them, how much money have we spent telling the racist thugs they ought to stay at home? They said, we haven't spent any. And I think that tells you something about what's wrong or what's going on. I think it's important that we understand that this could become a less escalating threat, a threat to us. Have we defeated elements like EDL and the BNP before? Yes, we have. We defeated them in the 1930s at Cable Street. We defeated them in the 1970s with the Anti-Nazi League when they were targeting Asians and black people. We defeated them in the 30s when they targeted Jewish people. It's possible for us to bring together a whole coalition of different people to isolate them. And in the process of isolating the fascists, to take on the arguments about what is giving them sustenance, why Islamophobic arguments coming from politicians and the mainstream political parties is allowing the fascists and the BNP to have an easy ride. I think it's important that we understand the attempt to build squadistas like Mussolini did and like Hitler did with the brown shirt has got to be stopped. I also want to make an appeal for on the 29th of August, the EDL have called a demonstration inside Bradford. And I think the reason why they've called a demonstration in Bradford is they want a showdown. And I think the kind of showdown we should give them, again, is a mass mobilisation of everybody united together in terms of saying that they shall not pass. And it's important that we label these organisations fascist organisations because I think that they've had an easy ride. I finally want to say something. I got a telephone from the police this morning to ask me, did I feel safe? Because of what was going on in terms of stuff, terms like that. And they said, I think there is a problem in terms of stopping the EDL and BNP from carrying out racist attacks. I don't know if people know, but I've been charged with conspiracy to they said that I want to incite violent disorder. I think I've got to be clear, there is a conspiracy going on against the Muslim community. It is organised by the EDL, it is organised by the BNP, it's organised by fascists, and we have to gather together the greatest amount of forces in order to stop them, and I think this part of the conference is part of mobilising for that. Thank you very much.